The Dallas Cowboys are turning 21 in free agency because they have 21 unrestricted free agents. And watch this. I'm going to rank them all. 21 through 1. Your conversation obviously has been a guide here on the Fish Report. I've also had the privilege of having some conversation with people inside the Star to kind of help. And then there's logic and educated guesses. The Dallas Cowboys 2021 roster was loaded, most people think. And now the Cowboys 2022 free agency list, it's loaded too. So with some guidance from folks here in Frisco inside the Star, we go into March pretty soon, and we try to answer some questions about who's who. I'm going to rank 21 to 1 the Cowboys' unrestricted free agents, with no insults to anybody intended. Number 21, Jeremy Sprinkle, the tight end. It's not that he can't play. It's not that the backup blocking tight end doesn't matter, and it's not that he might not return, but he won't be prioritized. The blocking tight end is one of the easier and more disposable guys to find. And if Jeremy Sprinkle wants to come back, or if it works out, fine. If somebody gives him a raise, then that's fine. They'll find another Jeremy Sprinkle. Keep in mind that they think they already have a couple bodies on the roster that might be able to do some of those things. Jeremy Sprinkle, number 21. Number 20, again, no insults here. Corey Clement came here and did a nice little job at what they asked him to do. Another guy who is a helper. First of all, I think if you had Corey Clement on your team for the entire year on special teams, I think you'd come away going, okay, now that's more than a little bit of a helper. But he is a special teams guy. You're not going to ever really play him at running back. There's no urgency here. Corey Clement, number 20. Number 19, and this is a roller coaster for Maurice Kennedy, the cornerback. First of all, when they first signed him, they thought they came up with a prize from the Jets, I believe. Then he signed out on COVID. Then he came back, of course, to training camp, had some moments, but you got Diggs on one side. It's going to be Kelvin Joseph's turn pretty soon. I would say only unless there's financial decisions that allow or have the Cowboys saying goodbye to friend of the show Anthony Brown or Jordan Lewis, both of whom are under contract. Only then, I think, does Kennedy get a call and some sense of importance in what he's offered. Number 19, Maurice Kennedy. By the way, thank you for your participation in all the things we do here on the Fish Report. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing as well. Number 18, Noah Brown. He feels like he's like a seventh-year senior around here. And in 2021, he did set career highs, targets, catches, yards, but not a pivotal guy. He's a blocking wide receiver. I'm not going to prioritize that, neither will the Cowboys. Now, that is pending the decisions to be made on Amari Cooper, who's under contract, and Michael Gallup, who's a free agent. That can change things, but but they are not going to prioritize in any way Noah Brown. Noah Brown, number 18, Cowboys free agency as we play turning 21. Number 17, Ty Nsekhe, the tackle. He's going to turn 37 years old. A really impressive and interesting backstory. And as we said at the time, wrote it at CowboysSI.com, exclusive, and reported it here. The reason that they played Ty Nsekhe and Terrence Steele at left tackle together in the same game, rotating, isn't because they couldn't make up their mind. Well, maybe a little bit. But they really think Ty Nsekhe is a very good pass blocker, whereas Terrence Steele's got some things to learn there. I would say that Terrence Steele would hurry up and learn those things. So you don't have rotating tackles anymore. He's a pro, Nsekhe. Cowboys can wait this one out, maybe even sit this one out. Ty Secchi, number 17. Number 16, Jake McQuaid, long snapper. And this is where it gets tricky because they absolutely want him back. It's important to get him back. The assumption is he's coming back, and therefore I don't have this as a hurry up and do it. I think it's a foregone conclusion. Kind of like LP before him. I think it's just kind of understood. The relationship with Bones Fossil sometimes, of course, gets the Cowboys in trouble because he likes who he likes almost no matter what. But in the case of Jake McQuaid, I think he did like everything right. So bring him back, but don't panic. Jake McQuaid, number 16. Number 15, Brent Urban. They signed the Canadian Brent Urban, 6'8" defensive tackle, for a specific reason, and he fulfilled that specific reason. Dallas got what it bargained for on a cheap one-year deal. They got run defense. Then he had the injury. At an affordable rate, I'm sure he comes back completely fine. At an affordable rate, we can run that back. But I think we're talking about, let's do again what we did last year. Let's do a one-year veterans minimum deal and come here and help us as a run stuffer a little bit. Can't prioritize that. Brent Urban, number 15. Number 14, and this is the first one that I'm going, I might be wrong, because I'm right on all these other ones. No, I don't know. I think our information's good, but on Carlos Watkins, the defensive tackle, he will probably not be remembered. He was a starting defensive tackle for the Dallas Cowboys. Came out of training camp as a starter, and then when he was healthy again, there he was again as a frontline rotational player. But I don't think he'll be remembered that way. I don't think he'll get paid that way. Maybe that's not fair, but I do believe that his signing was about being a bridge to Sir Neville Gallimore, to Osa, to Bohanna. And I'm not going to pay a bridge when I've invested in guys like that. I've got affordable rookie contract guys, 3 of them, who can plug things up in the middle and maybe even do a little bit more. And that's why Carlos Watkins, who's an NFL player and maybe even an NFL starter, is not a priority here. Number 13, Malik Turner, receiver. He did develop a little something with Dak, didn't he? At least in garbage time. He's only 25. He's already a special teams helper. I think it's fair to suggest he might be emerging as a receiver. So we're going to put Malik Turner down at number 13 as an under-the-radar maybe keeper. Number 12. And this is where we start getting into name guys and trying to match the value with the name. Number 12 is Connor Williams, the guard. Cowboys used the 50th overall pick on him in his draft. He's been a starter almost the entire time here. Every time they try to move him out, it never works. I mean, he moves out only for a minute, then comes right back. But a magnet for penalties, and he just could not overcome that. Got benched mid-season, and nothing quite worked, and hasn't worked out as originally planned. The 50th overall pick, hometown guy, University of Texas, hardworking guy, smart guy. It ought to have worked. It didn't. Connor Williams, number 12. Dallas is likely to let the next team pay him. Leighton Vander Esch, linebacker. I've had a lot of conversations about people on him. There's plenty to like. Just not enough to pay for. He is far better than the only 11th best player among Dallas free agents. He's a better player than that. But when the Cowboys declined his 5th-year option, that was the beginning of the turning of the page. Now, there's a void in that room. Jalen's gone. Leighton's gone. Jabril Cox, you only have seen a glimpse of. You're hopeful. Micah. I think Leighton Vander Esch goes someplace else and gets paid. I think Leighton Vander Esch might go someplace else, get paid, and be really good. But I do think Dallas is willing to take that risk while saying goodbye. Number 11, Leighton Vander Esch. Number 10, DeMonte KZ. A Quinn guy. And I don't want to overrate this. and I know you don't either. Oh, if Dan Quinn says it's so, that's good enough for me. That's probably not good enough alone. But he is a fit in this secondary. He did make some plays this year. He has a history as a playmaker from his days in Atlanta. I think Dallas, we got to put an asterisk here because this is about Dallas maybe picking the cheaper option between him and somebody we'll get to in a moment. Number 9, Keanu Neal. I've seen other people say, EK didn't. Boy, I think you're wrong. This is a Dan Quinn security blanket right here. He's a Quinn guy, but he's more than that. He switched from playing safety to linebacker from Atlanta to here. The position is thin. Leadership, a room in transition, a guy that knows everything about this defense from the defensive backfield aspect and the linebacker aspect. And yes, there was ups and downs, but he was a starter on this team. They want Keanu Neal back. Trust that. Quinn will petition to keep him back and maybe get on the phone with Keanu and do what I think, and I understand when players say no to this, but every once in a while there's a player, my best example in sports is J.J. Barea. Played for the Mavericks, fit here, won a championship, was uniquely qualified to succeed here. And Minnesota Timberwolves give him a mountain of money. And he knew I'm going to go to Minnesota and they're going to ask me to do things I can't do. And I'm going to go try and it's going to fail, but he got paid. Then, after getting his money and his Miss USA girlfriend wife and starting his family, he comes back to Dallas and fits again. Keanu Neal uniquely fits what Dan Quinn wants here, I believe. Reason enough to make him the number 9 guy on the list of the Cowboys turning 21 free agents. Number 8, Brian Anger. Veteran, first Pro Bowl, best season under Fossil. Hopefully they stay hooked up. Every reason to think they will. A weapon, Brian Anger. Not, again, we say, well, special teams, 1/3 of football. It's not. Special teams is not 1/3 of football. It's not. Otherwise, the punter would be as important as the quarterback. He's not. But a punter who's a weapon, yeah, come back here. We'll give you a raise. Get your comfort zone. Stay here. Brian Anger, number 8. Number 7, Dorrance Armstrong, the defensive end. I saw somebody write, this is Jerry's pet. And every time I see that, I realize that when somebody writes that, they're listening to Jerry on the radio and they're not understanding what he's saying. Dorrance Armstrong is not Jerry's pet. False. Dorrance Armstrong is Leon Lett's guy. The coaching staff likes Dorrance Armstrong. The coaching staff. And then Jerry sits in the Monday morning staff meetings and listens to the coaches say good things about Dorrance Armstrong, and that's Monday. Then he goes on the radio on Tuesday and parrots those same things. Jerry's not watching film of Dorrance Armstrong. The coaching staff believes in him. Not enough to give him a big second contract, obviously. If somebody else wants to do that, God bless you. But enough to hope there is a way of retaining a rotational talent at a key position. I'm reminded of all the times when teams in need with a lot of salary cap money and not great at recruiting, Jacksonville will do this traditionally. They'll go pay way too much for a Cowboy on another team, or anybody on another team, because they have to. Maybe Dorrance Armstrong, maybe some team with a bad record, lots of cap room, and not attractive recruits Dorrance Armstrong. This coaching staff would like them to stay here if it stays affordable. Dorrance Armstrong at number 7. Malik Hooker. Now, did he come here and set the world on fire with his ability as a playmaker? No. But he did become a starter-level guy. The coaches respect his playmaking history. They love his football IQ. And then this year, once he got healthy, he stayed healthy, which has been a real struggle for him, former first-round pick of the Colts. Dallas would like to find a way to make this work. as something more than a rental for Malik Hooker, the number 6 Cowboy free agent. Number 5, Dalton Schultz. And again, I'm seeing other people do their rankings, and they got Dalton Schultz as the number 1 Cowboy. No. And I don't think Dalton Schultz likes it when I say this, but I'm not trying to insult him. It's nothing against him. This has been brilliant what he's done. Last 2 years, Dalton Schultz, the former Cowboys' 3rd-string tight end, 141 catches, 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns in 2 years. That's fantastic. He's Witten-esque, almost. Schultz has become the player the Cowboys thought Blake Jarwin would be. So his payday's coming, and for the Cowboys, now it's time for Jarwin to become the player that Schultz has become. And Dalton Schultz signs elsewhere. Cowboy free agent number 4, Cedric Wilson. Wilson represents a Cooper Gallup insurance policy and more. Breakout season, 45 catches, 600 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns, gadget guy, special team contributor, football family. I'm afraid that somebody might pay more than Dallas is willing to, and you should be afraid too. It would really be nice to find a way to have Cedric Wilson still be here as an insurance policy, but I think if you want to keep Cedric Wilson, it's going to have to be as something more than an insurance policy. It's going to be he's going to have to be a top 3 receiver in your rotation, meaning you're saying goodbye to somebody else. Number 3 guy, Jaron Kearse, the safety, the gigantic, big-bodied, super tall basketball safety, comes here, cheap 1-year deal. The plan was special teams. They get to training camp, they find out, hey, listen, he could do some unique things, Quinn does. Besides just special teams, he can rush the passer, he can line up in the box, he can cover tight ends, wow. Oh, and for the first time in his life, in his professional life, somebody decided he's a team leader. Now, I don't know how Detroit and Minnesota missed all this, but they did. Or Dan Quinn and Kearse combined to get it out of him. He started more games this year for Dallas than he'd started in his entire previous 6-year NFL career. Career highs in tackles for loss, pass breakups, interceptions. Now he faces a decision, kind of like Keanu Neal. Is he uniquely matched to the Dallas system, or should he choose a jackpot somewhere else? Priority number 2, free agent number 2, and I've talked a lot about this, and this is sourced information. Michael Gallup is a priority, but rehabbing from the ACL surgery, a lot of unknowns here. When will he be ready? Pro Football Focus says he'll be ready in 7 months. That's really not how this works. Wouldn't that be something? But he certainly won't be ready in March, so you won't be knowing what you're getting. Is he now more affordable than his previously guessed at $13 million APY price? Michael Gallup, the Cowboys think, is a keeper with ifs, a keeper with questions, a priority with maybes. And then the number 1 guy, and CowboysSI.com was the first to write this, Fish Report, first to report it. The Cowboys they're putting all of their chips into the middle of the table on Randy Gregory, the defensive end. The Cowboys have told me he is the priority, as opposed to Michael Gallup being a priority. Gregory, 6 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 29 pressures. The view of the Cowboys is, let's keep this triangle together. Micah, Tank, Gregory. That's scary. Scary bunch. Tank Lawrence's contract, obviously, under scrutiny. Randy Gregory could be franchise tagged if you want to not have to worry about whatever you might want to worry about. Worst case scenario, Dallas franchise tags Gregory, but in any event, he's not going anywhere. So there's your 21. Salary cap going up to $208 million. But Dallas is still going to be up against it with an, as always, goal of, hey, let's pay our own. And then Cowboy Nation saying, pay your own, but make sure you get it right. There's the order. Fish out.